In the not-so-distant past, this time of year was often associated with almost opulent consumption, whether in the form of gift-giving, holiday parties, or Boxing Day clearance sale madness. But this year feels a bit different, as perhaps the tough times have people reevaluating what matters to them. With us now to consider that, let's welcome, in Jacksonville, Florida, Kelly Dennings, Simplify the Holidays campaigner at the American nonprofit Center for Biological Diversity. And here in our studio, Elamin Abdul-Mahmoud, author of Son of Elsewhere, a memoir in pieces. He's also a culture writer for BuzzFeed. And Ryan Diamond, he is co-executive director at Eco Schools Canada, and we are delighted to welcome you two. You for the first time, I think.
I think so, yes.
Elamin, you were just here with your book not too long ago.
I sure was.
And I guess it went okay, because here you are again. Anyway, and Kelly, thank you for joining us from Florida. Let's start with this. We're going to go around our virtual table here and ask one holiday tradition that you really love. Start us off, Kelly.
Sure. Well, for me, my holiday tradition that I love would be having communal meals with friends and family. So in my family, the tradition is to do fondue, where you have the cheese and the chocolate and the boiling oil and you cook your food in front of you. So that's what I love.
That sounds terrific. Elamin, how about you?
I really love, on Christmas Eve, my in-laws always watch White Christmas, followed by Christmas Carol, followed by Mickey's Christmas Carol. It's a full night's programming worth of movies, but I love it. It's my favorite part of Christmas. It's like every Christmas Eve, beginning around 6 p.m., because those are a lot of movies to get through, we start, and then by like around 11 o'clock, if anyone's awake still, then we finish the last of those movies. It's fantastic.
And you're serious? You do all three movies every year?
Every single year. And you know what? I had that question also. Are you serious? You do this every single year. But now, 16 years running, you know what? I'm in. I'm all in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You probably have nothing else to say to your family.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, Ryan, how about you?
Sure, I mean, getting around the table, chatting, catching up with family and friends, it's always important, but I think I'll segregate your audience a little bit and say that I'm a vegetarian. Used to be a Christmas, perhaps turkey, with some members of my family, but we've gone for the tofurkey now.
The what?
The tofurkey.
What's that?
Well, it's a turkey made out of tofu. So it has stuffing and gravy, but it's all fake. But it's delicious.
So
my wife makes a nice turkey stuffed tofurkey.
What's the point if it's all fake?
Well, it looks somewhat like a turkey. And it tastes delicious.
It does. Okay, well, that's important.
Yeah, you put it in the oven.
That matters.
There's some tradition.
Yeah, taste matters. Okay, that's the holiday tradition you love. Let's follow that up. Kelly, again, you go first. The holiday tradition you have to suffer through.
Suffer through, yes. Well, I don't suffer through it too much anymore, but it would be fighting the shopping mall situation. That is not for me. And I actually grew up in retail. My dad worked in department stores and he owned a Christmas store for a short time. But that is just one thing I can't do anymore.
Okay, Elamin, how about you?
I mean, on a similar note, I am someone who starts his Christmas shopping as late as possible. Like, if I'm starting to buy Christmas presents at like 10 a.m. on Christmas Eve, you know what? That's a little early for me. I like to wait until around noon or so. And so, as a result, because of my own doing, it's a ruinous thing that I do to myself every time. But I start my Christmas shopping far too late. And that, unfortunately, counts as a tradition because I do it every year.
And you are being serious, sir. We're here on a Friday, and you have not started Christmas shopping yet?
I have not bought a single present. We have time. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great.
You do understand that the later you leave it, the selection is less, right?
Yeah, that's not the problem. The problem is I know exactly what I want. I just got to go get it.
And you're sure it'll be there?
No, Steve. That's why I hate it.
Okay. Ryan, how
That's
about
a question
you?
of what you hate.
Yeah.
Stocking stuffers, really, I can't stand them. I mean, honestly, there's these little plastic trinkets. It might be good for a joke for about 2 seconds, and then it sees the landfill shortly after that.
Something to throw it after that.
Yeah, and there's it's just like a stressful time for there to be too many of these things for me.
What's in your stocking stuffer, man? I mean, that's the...
The vision in my head, to be honest, this one Christmas was this like massive pair of sunglasses that, the size of your face type sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody's ever going to wear that. So you wear it for the laugh,
Yeah.
and then you move on to
I'm
the
gonna
next one.
I'm gonna stuff your stocking this time around with like good stuff, so they make you like it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go out on the 24th at 10 a.m., you will not find those glasses. They will be gone. You're going to have to make a move earlier than that this year.
That's true. That's true. I'll work on it.
Kelly, you run a project called Simplify the Holiday. Tell us about that. What's your objective?
Yeah, sure. Well, we try to bring alternative gift giving to the mainstream. So we would love to see more people giving gifts of experience, donations to nonprofits, time and skill. But we also talk about, your holiday traditions of decorating, your tree choices, your food choices as a way to simplify the holidays to make it more environmentally friendly.
And what has prompted this?
Well, actually, I did my master's thesis on this. And so when I was getting a master's in public health, I did the research around how material gift giving does not increase your happiness and well-being, but experiential gift giving does. And so I've been doing it since about 2018 now. And I brought the campaign to my organization that I work for now, the Center for Biological Diversity. So I would love to see people get out in nature and, experience that as a way to celebrate the holidays and increase their happiness and well-being without buying more stuff.
Now, that sounds like a really neat idea, but just follow up on it if you would. An experiential gift idea, for example, could be what?
Right. A lot of people think of like the quintessential large, holiday trip, but it doesn't have to be. You could do a staycation in your own home and go visit a museum in your town. You could give a gift of a museum entrance or a zoo pass. So it doesn't really have to be this thing that most people think of and expensive. But I do know that there can be barriers to this. And so if you don't live in the same town, it can be more difficult. But our campaign also has a tool, a website called So Kind, and it's where you can create alternative wish lists, alternative gift wish lists, and it has a calendar function in there. So you could ask for a concert ticket or a sporting event ticket and, pick the actual date and game and show that you want to see, and then provide that wish list to your friends and family to purchase it.
Huh. Kind of Secret Santa meets online meets need. All right. I like it. That's cool. All right. Elamine, why don't you give us some advice as well here? When the season of giving coincides with inflation, the likes of which we haven't seen in 40 years, and an economy that, is concerning to a lot of people out there, what do we do?
I think you might find that this year Christmas feels a little bit like, that scene in The Grinch Who Stole Christmas when they all wake up the next morning and all the presents are gone, and they all kind of have to look around at each other and realize, what, actually all we have is each other, and that's always been the case. Christmas has never been about these presents. Only there's no Grinch, right? It's just inflation. There's just sort of this feeling of, I'm not gonna be able to buy as many things as I normally do. I think a lot of people, associate Christmas with excess. They don't just buy one present for people. They buy so many and then they stuff them all into the tree. If you're not able to do that this time around, then you maybe try to figure out what is the feeling you're trying to communicate to another person, and then do it. Maybe you spend a little bit more time writing a Christmas card as opposed to just signing one that already contains sentiments that somebody else wrote. This is a bit more investment into the personal part of Christmas, because if you can't say it through saying, you know what, I know exactly what you want. I know exactly that you want those big sunglasses. I'm gonna put those in your stocking stuffer. You figure out, how do I use my words to communicate that? And I think there'll be a little bit more focus on that this year.
That's a brilliant idea. I have found in the past, for occasions, I have written my parents letters as opposed to go out and buy them something they don't need. And I think they like the letters, actually more than the lousy gift that I would buy them, which they would probably take back because it wasn't something they needed anyway.
The thing with cards in general is that we kind of fall into this kind of generally rote, basically automated, you get the card and you put a couple of words in there and you sign it. What if you spent some time writing 300 words in that card about what that person means to you? A little more effort. I think you might find that people really appreciate it.
Beautiful. What's your advice in terms of high inflation, adverse economy, trying to do something different? Let's not get Dad another tie. What are we thinking instead?
I love what Kelly said. I mean, really, the experiential gifts. I mean, if I think about the gifts that I've gotten in my life that really have a lot of value. Going to my first hockey game with my grandfather, and that really, stands out.
Was it a Leaf game?
No, it was a Habs game, actually.
I'm sorry, you'll have to leave.
But my wife, she does a great thing. I have all these tickets in my wallet, really, of nights out that I could have with my wife that's in reserve that she's just going to take me out, and I can cash those in at any time during the year.
That's fantastic.
You have those on you right now?
I probably do. It's going to mess up the mic, though, I think.
You know what? This is worth doing a show and tell, because you threw something out there, and now I got to find out if he really means it. Look at that. Hang on. Sheldon, which camera? Camera 3. Where's
Don't
camera
lose
3?
it.
That's me, right straight
earn
ahead. Okay, look at this. What is it? Can you read her writing? What does that say?
That's fun-filled date night on the town with a heart.
With a heart. So
Fantastic.
One ticket.
Now I notice her signature's not on there.
This could be with anybody. That's
It's
true.
actually with me. You didn't know that, but yeah.
Very sacred.
But it's
yeah,
meant to
very
be with you and your wife.
That's the idea.
That's fantastic.
Somehow we got to arrange some babysitting.
That's very adorable.
I'm going to steal that idea.
Oh, sure, please. Yeah, take
That's
it.
very adorable. All right, while you've got the floor, Toronto Tool Library.
Yeah, so a few things.
What's that?
That's an initiative that really, the idea behind that is that we already live in abundance. There might be inflation, there might be a scarcity of money in your bank account, but the fact is that we have this abundance in society that is kind of living in our garages, in our basements, in our storage facilities that people seem to rent out and pay fortunes for, that pop up everywhere. And it's because, we have too much stuff that we can't use all the time. But meanwhile, other people need access to some of this stuff some of the time. And so with tools is kind of the perfect example where you don't use tools every day unless you're a professional. Generally speaking, you're going to have some things that you need to repair or you want to build something, but that's not going to happen to you every day. So why not go to a place, we built this place called the Tool Library, where you can go and borrow all the things that you need, power tools, hand tools, gardening tools, and take them out for a week and use them for the project that you have. You can renew it as well, just like a library, and then bring it back. And almost all the inventory there, 99%, more than 99% of it is just donated from people who had it sitting around, don't need it anymore. And so you're just basically taking the abundance that was kind of spread out in these hidden corners of the city, bringing it into one centralized place where everybody can access it.
Well, that's very cool. Now, okay, this is my journalist hats talking right now. No one steals anything?
There are some late fees that we do implement. It's a kind of pay what you can type of model here, but that does happen. Tools break, but there's such an abundance. That's what you have to understand. Like these tools can be borrowed thousands of times in some cases, hand tools particularly, but even power tools. There's one power tool that I think the power tool itself would have cost about $150, but it's been borrowed over 100 times. And so you look at like the economic value of that one tool in the community is, thousands of dollars that actually take away from our current economy, but then bring it back into this kind of different sharing economy. With the holidays in particular, though, what we did is we started something called the Alternative Gift Shop. And this is the same idea where you're taking abundance in your house, things that are new or very lightly used, and bring them to an event. So everybody comes to this event, you get tickets, kind of like that ticket from my wife, but you get tickets for all the items that you bring. Maybe you get 5 tickets. Then you go shopping in the store and buy 5 things for your family that you wouldn't have to spend any money on.
I love that.
Okay, Kelly, can I get a little bit real here?
Sure.
Let's try this. I love these ideas. This is really sweet stuff. But I'm just imagining how a 12-year-old would feel if their parent said to them in advance of the holidays, you know what, the economy's kind of tough right now, so we decided not to buy you any new toys. Here's a letter I've written to you to tell you how I feel about you. How's this really going to play?
Well, my advice to folks when you try to implement this with your family is to start small. You really don't want to kind of take away every tradition that they're used to. So, swap one alternative gift for one material gift. Work with them early in the year. So as one of the guests said, some people start in July and shopping. And so you want to start having these conversations early. But yeah, and then work with your family to say, hey, let's maybe do something like a Secret Santa or a white elephant, where you're not going to give so many gifts per each individual, but one gift for, your extended family. And the kids can get involved in that. And I think that they really do learn the value of community and, what we can enjoy from this besides the material gifts. And so asking them to pick a nonprofit that's important to them. Maybe they're really into animals or art or music, and making a donation in their name, but they get to be involved in that. I would say small swaps to start with.
Okay. Let me try this with you, Elamine. You got a 5-year-old.
I do.
Do you imagine having a holiday time of year conversation with this 5-year-old about how you're going to handle things, and maybe it's going to be a bit different this year, or I don't even know? You tell me.
Well, you know what? We've actually done the thing that Kelly just mentioned. We've talked to her about saying, okay, what are some charities that you might be interested in for us to donate in your name? It's a part of what we do during this time, because we kind of explain that, this time is a time to be connected to community, to not feel isolated in the place where you live. And so it's not necessarily her present. In fact, she has too many presents. I'm looking directly to camera. But I think that is one of the things that we've done, is we've introduced this concept of, the holidays aren't actually just about us, and they're not just about this sort of insular family unit. It's about recognizing that you live in a community and not feel too isolated from that community. So we talk, she's picked charities for us to donate to before.
Really? At age 5?
Yeah. Now we sort of talk, we say this charity does this thing, this organization does other thing. Where do you think we should allocate the money this year? And then she picks. And
That's great.
And honestly, a 5-year-old is actually very capable of having that conversation, because if you explain that there's groups of people working towards different causes, she's able to pick a different cause every year, and it's great.
At what age do you think that's a message that you can start to introduce to a young child?
I think there's something about childhood that we feel like we have to protect from these conversations, but I actually think you can start at 4 or 5. Are you gonna get a high quality conversation? Not necessarily, right? But you begin now so that they have a memory of, hey, I remember that conversation happened last year, and I can think about it a little more deeply, and then that sort of evolves with time. And so I think people tend to underestimate children in that way, but I don't think they should be underestimated. Yeah.
Your child is how old?
He's 3.5.
3.5. Too early to start dealing with this?
That might be a little early.
Yeah, I think it's a bit early. Yeah. I think for him, Christmas is a lot about the decorations that you see on all these houses.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know if he's got so much of a concept of it being about a lot of consumption or gifts, so I don't have to worry too much. I have gotten him a bunch of used gifts this year, so lightly used. Well, I mean, they don't look new, they don't look used, but you go online, people have received all kinds of gifts out there. You go in January, you'll see a whackload of gifts that people have received that they don't want. And you can, if you really want to delay your Christmas for a week, I'm sure you can get some pretty good gifts at a different price.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. There's so much competition. Kelly, maybe you can weigh in on this. There's so much competition among kids, and when they go back to school in the new year, they are going to compare and contrast with each other. What did you get, etc. And I don't know, how do parents try to introduce the notion of stop being so competitive with your friends at school and be grateful for what you got, and be a mensch about the whole thing? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a social norm, right? So we need to be starting this at a young age. They need to be seeing it from their faith community, within school, in the media. So something like this is great, because this is how we change social norms. But yeah, it can be tough. I mean, I was a kid once. I remember wanting those brand name clothes. But I think families just need to continue to plug away at it. And it's so important for the habitat that wildlife needs, for our climate. The extraction and production of these products, not to mention the transportation of moving them across the globe, because the majority of this material is not necessarily made in the United States, for sure. And then it's transported again to, the retail establishment, and then you maybe drive to pick it up. Each of that, transportation piece within this supply chain is causing environmental damage. So, it's kind of imperative, if we want our young people to have a wonderful environment to grow up in, to be instilling this in them now.
Yeah, what I like about that is that Kelly has this recognition that it's not going to be easy. We're not talking about overnight you walk up to your 11-year-old and say, okay, so you wanted an Xbox, but you're getting a letter, and that's the end of that conversation. It is about teaching, right? And it's about shifting expectations of what a holiday is, and that takes time, right? We have broader social conversations, and maybe over time we arrive at a different place. It doesn't have to be this holiday thing. You can sort of feel your way through it. You can ease your way into it without necessarily the pressure of saying, okay, we're gonna change all of what Christmas is. In 1 week, because that could be tough on anybody.
No, great point.
Yeah. I mean, at Eco School, so just say, I mean, we're working with kids K to 12, and the younger the kids are, the more enthusiastic they are about cleaning up waste or turning off the lights, or just simple tasks that they know will have an impact in their own community, in their own school. And I think these values can be brought in from a young age if you still have that opportunity and you don't have someone, maybe a teenager, that's demanding a bigger gift. But I think that they will translate into that recognition that there is an impact to buying all this stuff. If you just go to your recycling bin or your garbage bin and you see what the waste is like, especially at the end of the year, walk down your neighborhood, you'd say, okay, this is the impact that we have for having these kinds of traditions, and can we think of a better way?
I don't normally pry into people's private lives, but
this is
your father-in-law was a legend in the environmental movement. Your father-in-law was Bob Hunter.
That's right.
Founder of Greenpeace, and was on City TV as a journalist for many, many years. So I guess it is going to be a very natural thing, I'm guessing, for you to bring an environmental awareness to whatever season you're involved in. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, in my family, I guess it's kind of the tradition, I suppose. Yeah.
So how will you incorporate that with you point out 3.5 years old is that's pretty young, but how do you start to introduce the notion of that kind of activism at this time of year?
It's tricky because for myself as an adult, I can choose not to consume certain things, and I can be very aware of my impact and what I'm making. But then, when you have a child who doesn't understand a lot of those things, or even just family members of mine, extended family that also don't appreciate that, there is a kind of a place where you want to lead by example. And you want to say, okay, hey, what can I give somebody an experience gift that they've never would have even thought to get can I babysit their kids for one night and give them a night off in town? That's a beautiful gift,
totally.
But it doesn't really cost anything. And it's something just different that they can think about and probably tell other people about.
Neat. Kelly, maybe follow up on that. What's one thing people can do over the holidays to make this world just a little bit more sustainable?
Yeah, one thing I think folks could do would be to swap out a meat-based meal for a plant-based meal. The greenhouse gas emissions from the meat and dairy industry are really harming our planet. And so that might be one thing that I would recommend, because I've already talked so much about alternative gifts, but it's really hard for me to pick one.
No, I get you. Elamine, you got any thoughts on that front?
Maybe cool it on the wrapping paper, right?
Right.
It's probably the least necessary part of the whole thing. I get it. You want to have some kind of element of surprise. I don't know, man. Put it in a pillowcase or something. I think honestly, there's nothing more useless than wrapping paper. And I say this because people spend all this energy and all this time wrapping a present, and then within 12 seconds the morning of Christmas, all you have is just a pile of stuff that does not decompose at any point.
That will require a culture change, though.
Yeah,
there is an expectation that something will come in a nicely wrapped, beautiful package, which you put some TLC into doing.
Steve, that's what we're doing here. We're changing the world one conversation at a time. Get with the program. Let's go.
I'm still trying to get over put it in a pillowcase. That's the...
Maybe not that.
No, my wife does that for sure.
Pillowcases?
Come on.
Pillowcases, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Gifts in pillowcases.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Sorry, say again?
Scarves. Put them in scarves, or
Scarves.
a
Okay.
paper bag, or some scrap fabric.
There's also ways of wrapping without tape. There's all these Japanese wrapping methods. They're very fancy. They look great. You can have, instead of bows, you can have like pine cones or something.
But truly, every time that I see the pile of Christmas wrapping paper the next day, I think it's the single most clarifying moment of just how much waste you can generate.
You're so right.
Because it confronts you, because you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite something.
It's all landfill. No, that's a great point. Great point. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Elamine, you're right. We are changing the culture one conversation at a
That's how
time.
it starts, Steve.
Got a lot of new ideas on the table today, and I want to thank all three of you for doing so. Kelly Dennings in Jacksonville, Florida, Elamine Abdul Mahmoud, and Ryan Diamond here in the Big Smoke. Thanks to the three of you, and best of the season to you all.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.